Welcome to the Kick in the Head podcast. As always, we have an absolutely jam-packed MMA show for you. Today, we are doing predictions for UFC 298, which honestly is one of the most stacked cards of the year. It's more stacked than UFC 300, to be honest, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. And today, doing predictions with me is at BC Legacy, Lucendiso Dabula. Lou, as always, welcome to Kick in the Head.
Exciting times ahead, man. Can't wait to get into it.
Let's go. So this fight card is absolutely stacked. Early prelims, main card, all stacked. First fight of the night is Lee versus Maverick. Now, this is a flyweight bout between two Muay Thai specialists with sort of similar records. A fight that I think is going to be very interesting, especially in terms of the betting odds. Who are you looking at for this fight?
I think if you look at the stats, I haven't watched too much tape on each of the fighters, but if you look at the stats, Andrea Lee's got the reach and the height advantage. She's in the orthodox. It's important for her to get her foot in the right place in order to, fly her, jabs, get her jabs going. But I think with that in mind, orthodox are always very difficult to fight southpaw. And with the 14-5 record, I'm going to go for Miranda Maverick.
I'm with you on this one. I think I'm going Maverick on this one. Southpaws are always unconventional, especially in the Muay Thai stance. And just a quick shout out to nextmma.com and Prowler Picks, who provided all the stats that we're going to be going through today. The next fight on the much love. And if you're looking to make any bets, go check out those guys definitely. The next fight is one I'm a little bit excited about. It's one of those fights that could go either way. It's Val Woodburn versus Oban Elliott. Val Woodburn, we talked about, who came in to lose to Bo Nickel recently, which he did. But he's an absolutely powerful fighter. And before that, he was at 7-0. So he's going up against Oban Elliott, who's a 9-2. Very, very vicious fighter. Very, very skilled. Who do you have on this one?
I don't know if you watched a bit of the Ariel MMA Hour where he was on, the Walsh Gangster. Very sad story, a tribute to his dad. His dad was a boxer. It's his MMA debut. Very emotional story. So he used to wear his shorts, his dad's shorts. His dad passed away a couple of years ago. So he used to wear shorts, to fights every time he fights. Now, obviously, they've got UFC uniform. And so, when he gets to other organizations, he can't wear those shorts. So he decided to tattoo the year his father died on his arm, 2005, I think. Very sad story, emotional, touching story. He really got me in the heartstrings with that one. I think because he's a passionate fighter, the Welsh are always passionate. I'm going to go with Oban Elliott. I love his story. I love his contribution to his dad and who following the trail. Monabisi legacy is simply that as well to me. It's me following my dad's path and pushing to reach higher. So I identify with that story. Oban Elliott, that's my bet. Emotional or not.
Emotional or not. It's a very, very interesting point you make there about the passion. The catch with Val Woodburn is he's unpredictable because we don't know much about him. But I think between the skills, the extra height, the reach, Woodburn has the reach advantage, the age, the odds, I'm also going to go Woodburn. I think he's definitely doing it for a reason, doing it for the legacy of his dad. And so we're together on that one. Oban Elliott.
No, I'm going Elliott. Are you going Woodburn?
No, I'm going Elliott. We're together.
Okay, same.
I want Val to win, but I just don't see it happening.
Oh, I got you.
Then the next fight's another interesting fight. We've got Quinlan versus Barlow. Now we've got an orthodox versus another southpaw here at welterweight, and jiu-jitsu versus mixed. We might see Quinlan looking to pull guard, looking to go to the ground, take the fight to the ground against a mixed martial artist with an undefeated record, one of many on this card. How do you see this fight going?
It's one of those if it's a stand-up fight, Danny Barlow wins it. If it's a on the ground fight, Josh Quinton wins it. There's a jiu-jitsu specialist versus a mixed martial artist who's got a great record. But I think if Dan Barlow can get his defense going, he can definitely pull something out the gate. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Danny Barlow with the stand-up win and keeping his 100% record.
Today, I think we're definitely in tune. I think everything you said, Barlow better on the feet. He's got good hands. I think he'll
Yeah,
make it a quick fight so that he can move up very quickly.
yeah,
Quinlan, yes, he's only got one loss, but if you look at the odds as well, I'd definitely go with Barlow at a minus 218. So I think definitely Danny Barlow on this one.
yeah.
Then the next fight. Now, this one is very, very exciting. I'm sure you know a lot about Rinya
Mm,
Nakamura.
mm,
We've got
mm.
Rinya Nakamura up against Carlos Vera in what is a very, very exciting bantamweight fight, in which if Nakamura wins, he's definitely going to be catapulted probably to a top 15 bout in his next fight. Who do you have in this one?
Interesting odds. Carlos Ferreira's got the most experience, but obviously Rene Nakamura, as you've just said, coming in hot with an undefeated streak. He's a wrestler versus a jiu-jitsu, so it's going to be a ground game. And the person who asserts their dominance, and I think will win the fight. And I think it'll be the wrestler. The wrestlers have always got the cardio. The wrestlers have always got the aggression. So if he just goes about his methodology quite well, I think he takes it and he keeps his record. Rinya Nakamura.
I think one thing you mentioned earlier about how fathers play a role in MMA is why I'm making my pick. But Rinya Nakamura has been around MMA his entire life. His father basically pioneered MMA in the East, in Japan,
Mm,
with one of the
mm,
fight promotions out there. So he's
mm.
literally been around combat sports and MMA his entire life. And then he came through MMA through wrestling after winning multiple medals, almost like Triple C. I mean, we've got multiple medal
Wow,
winners on this card.
interesting,
So
interesting.
if we're looking at Rinya Nakamura, he's not just got the skill, he's also got the legacy, he's got the heritage,
Mm,
he's got
mm, mm,
everything that's building him
mm,
up to be one of the most phenomenal
mm,
bantamweight stars as he progresses through his career. He's only 28. So almost similar as to how you picked Oban Elliott, I'm definitely going with Rinya Nakamura, but mostly because I see him becoming a phenom. I see him elevating that bantamweight division and
mm,
possibly going on to do some great things. So his 8-0 record is not just an 8-0 record, it's an 8-0 record. This man's coming for the title. So we're
mm,
together on this
mm.
one again. And plus, this is the most lopsided odds that the UFC has seen in years. He's on minus 1,350.
What?
So if you put some money on Carlos Vera and Vera wins, you're a rich person. Like,
You're a
it's
rich
instant.
guy.
So Nakamura, please, definitely money on Nakamura. And the next fight we have is an interesting one between Min Yang and Ribeiro. We've got a mixed martial artist versus orthodox, the gorilla versus the mountain tiger, 16-6 versus 15-5. Similar seeming records. Who do you have on this one?
Interesting one. It's as you say, light heavyweight. So there's a lot of space in that division to do, to get up quite quickly because it's the old guys that are there, so they could really make a name for themselves. These guys. Um, I mean, I also don't know their styles quite as well as I should. It seems evenly stacked if you really look about it. If you look at the stats, just off my love for Brazil, I'm going to go for Britain Ribeiro.
I think you got lucky I didn't go first and you chose the right fighter because Ming Yang is viewed as the most unaccomplished fighter on the card. He has what we're calling the most padded record. Most of his wins are out in China. And if you look
Mm,
at the last, I think, two fights, it's definitely the last fighter he fought. He'd already beaten the guy twice. The guy came in, I think, with a 1-3 record, who's now gone on to a 2-6 record. And a lot of the fighters he's fought have not been real fighters. So looking at the backgrounds of the two fighters, where they're coming from, the skill sets they have, who they fought, definitely
mm.
Ribeiro on what I would call a very, very dominant win. Although what's very interesting is that the odds have Min Yang by an edge at minus 122. So I'm not sure
It's
what
quite
that's about.
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting,
Mm.
but we'll see what
Weird,
happens.
but I mean, to your point, I mean, sometimes these odd makers, it's a tricky one, but I think, the CVs and the resumes make fights, not odds. Yes, you can look at odds to kind of give you a guidance on how to make money, but if we're talking MMA, which is what we're doing here, the odds are definitely stacked towards Brenton Ribeiro.
So in other words, this is free money for anyone betting because I mean the odds are
Yeah,
going to help you out right there. The
100%.
next fight we've got is Marcos Rogerio de Lima versus Junior
Mm,
Tafa.
mm.
Now this one is very interesting because Marcos de Lima last fight out was against Derek Lewis, where he caught that vicious switch knee and it was lights out. Another
Mm.
KO win for the great knockout artist Derek Lewis, going up against yes, boy, the Beast, the Black Beast.
Yeah, that's my guy, bro. That's my guy. He's losing a lot, but that's another story for another time.
He
That's my
still got
guy,
the
though.
knockout record. That's what
100%.
counts.
Yeah, 100%.
Now he's going up against Junior Tafa. Now Junior Tafa is standing in on what we would call short notice because he showed
Yeah,
up
for his
at
brother.
the weigh-ins for his brother. So now we've got the situation where we've got a very experienced 21 and 10 Marcos de Lima who's now fighting someone he wasn't expecting to fight in Junior Tafa. But being a striker versus a kickboxer, oof, I think definitely. Well, let me let you go first. Who do you think has this one?
Look, I mean, if you think about camps matter, and there's a reason why we have fighter camps to prep fighters and to, get fighters conditioned. Junior Tougher, yes, has been, training, but he wasn't in camp mentality. It's the same thing, and I mean, we're going to get to it a little bit later when we talk about Volk. Is when he took the fight on short notice against Islam.
Makhachev.
When you're in camp, you develop a mentality. And so because he just hasn't had a full camp, Usman again versus Kamzat, same thing. So I think on the basis of that, he didn't get a full camp. I'm going to go with Delima on this one. All Delima needs to do is just be conservative because Junior Tafa is going to come out and try to finish this thing quickly because he doesn't have the tank. If Rogario de Lima is going to take this. I see it third round.
Um, okay, I think this card we're definitely together all the way. uh, I can't argue with anything you said. I think also the experience will probably show. He might take a few too many kicks if he doesn't finish it early, I guess. But like you said,
Yeah.
Tafa's probably going to come out quick, try and finish it. But I'm going with the Lima as well. So we're together on that one.
Mm.
Okay, then the next fight. This is a very exciting one. Very exciting, especially because of how she came
Mm.
out. But Amanda Lemos versus Mackenzie Dern, a strawweight battle, which will probably catapult one of them either into title contention or into fighting for title contention, one of the two. But this is
Mm.
a very, very interesting fight between number 3 and number 7.
Mm.
Who do you have on this one? The two Brazilians,
Yeah,
Orthodox versus
interesting.
Southpaw.
If I remember correctly, I think Tatiana Suarez was supposed to fight Amanda Lemos, and so Mackenzie Dern stepped in to take the main event of the prelims essentially. So this is quite an eye catcher, because it's two very good practitioners. Respect them both. I really do. I respect Mackenzie Dern's jiu-jitsu. Mackenzie Dern's jiu-jitsu is ill, is right up there. She's also got hands, but she's really good on the ground. Whereas Amanda Lemos is a striker. So it's one of those. If it's in the ground, Amanda Lemos can obviously fight on the ground. She's shown her skill set. But I go for Mackenzie Dern if it's on the ground, but Amanda Lemos if it's standing up. But my final decision, because Mackenzie Dern can also throw hands, I'm going to go with Mackenzie Dern.
This is a tough one because Amanda Lemos is a great fighter, but I've seen her being beaten to death too many times, near death. And Mackenzie is vicious. We know since her divorce, she's been focused on her MMA. And yes, we all like to bring out her divorce because she's looking amazing. And at the weigh-in, she was looking amazing. So
Why you gotta be that guy?
look, I'm just saying.
Look, you're not lying. You're not lying. You're not lying. We can appreciate and still be fight analysts. You know what I mean? Strickers looked in great shape. He looked amazing as well.
He
Got
looked
fired.
fantastic, except for after the
You know
fight
what I
when he
mean?
lost his eyes. But yeah, he was great.
Exactly. So
So look,
yeah.
the odds have Lemos by hair, one by -135. I'm going to go Dern by submission in the second. I think the jiu-jitsu is going to win out over the striking.
Yeah.
I think Dern's not going to
Yeah.
let it stay on the feet too long. 13-3-1 versus 13-4. I'm going Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
for one, at last we have a split. Yay!
No, I'm Mackenzie
Yeah.
Dern as well.
Oh, I thought you said Lemos.
No, no, no. Dern,
Oh,
Dern,
you're on
Dern,
Dern.
brother.
That's my
Yeah,
bad. You are Dern. We are together again.
yeah.
And
We
then
haven't
we
been split this
have
year, so I think we'll be split as we come now. I think the main card, there's room to be split. Let's see how it goes.
there is room to be split. I wonder which one we're going to be split on. Although I, we'll
It's
see which one
also quite.
we'll be split on.
Let's see.
Ooh, that was a bad picture. Hmm. Okay. Well, we can see what's happening here. We've got Roman Kopylov versus Anthony Hernandez. This is 15 versus I'm trying to break into the top 15 and take your spot. This is Mr. I won by head
Yeah.
kick in my last fight, Kopylov, versus a very, very accomplished fighter in Hernandez. We can't see the stats too well there. Who do you have in this one?
Um, Again, styles make fights. Another well picked fight by the matchmakers. Hungry, as you said, guy trying to get into the top 15. Anthony Hernandez has got the experience. I think just because of how he goes about his business, as you've also just said, I go with Anthony Hernandez, despite the fact that Roman Kopylov is rising and quite prevalently. He's going about his business quite well. But I think he's going to take a page out of Hermansson's book and see it through and keep his number.
So interestingly enough, they do have identical records. Hernandez has lost to the one and only Trailblazer. Oh gosh, his name escapes me right now. How can I forget his name? Loudmouth.
Trailblazer.
Kevin Holland. He's lost to Kevin
Kevin
Holland.
Holland. Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
But he's beat, for example, Arman Shabazian. So, like you said, he's got the whole Jack Hermanson air about him of, listen, this is my spot. I earned it, and I'm here to keep it. And we've got Kopylov, who's coming in, who's recently beat Rubiero, who's actually fighting on the prelims. So, very tricky one. I'm going to go with they have identical records. I'm going to go with Kopylov because of the head kick win in the past, even though the odds have Hernandez by minus 200. So not the best idea on my side, but let's go. Let's see what happens.
The show is called Kick Him in the Head.
There you go. So it's out of my hands.
We gotta do what we gotta do.
Okay, and then we get to the big ones. Now we get to the fights that everyone's been talking about. And I think the first fight on the card that we want to talk about is Jeff Neal versus Ian, the future, Machado, Gary. The Connor clone, if you will. So
I mean, it's a good place to start, I guess, because the next three are quite badass. But obviously, that's not the order that they'll fight. But if you look at Machado, man, the swag is up in there. I don't know if you caught a bit of embedded. We saw Machado training with my all-time best fighter, my favorite fighter, not best fighter, favorite fighter, Charles do Bronx Oliveira at Shoot Box. He's there with the Lima camp at Shoot Box in Brazil. He's moved to Brazil. He's speaking Portuguese like he speaks English. He's one of the family. It was such a heartfelt moment, man. I just wanted to be there with them, just spending good quality time. We know how Brazilians are. They're loving and they put him in as a family. My heart was just so warm seeing how Machado has just immersed himself in the Brazilian culture, and over and above the fact that he's carving his way to superstardom in the way that he's done. I think he's added a great chip, feather to the cap with the Shoot Box camp, and he's going to go about this emphatically. He's going to win this in a very brilliant fashion because we know how Shoot Box guys go. They are fighters and they want to finish the thing quickly, just like Charles fights. That's how he's going to fight, and he's going to put a statement against my guy. I like him. I like Neil, but it's Ian Gary for me.
I think you took all the words. Look, definitely Ian Gary. Everything you said holds. Also, if we're looking at Jeff Neal, he struggled against your longer range fighters, guys who come in, do their business, come out, come in, do their business, come out. And Ian Gary is one of the specialists at that, over and above the camp that you've just mentioned that he's gone to shoot box with Charles the Bronx. So if you look at the skills that he's developed in the recent times, and despite all the noise that he's encountered regarding his wife, regarding all of that over social media, he's still confident and he still says, "Listen, I don't think you guys understand who I am and what I'm here to do. So let's go."
Yeah,
Whereas we've got Neil, who's obviously protecting his number at the top there, coming off a
100%.
loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov, who's another phenom, undefeated fighter. They keep putting him up against undefeated fighters, which I don't know if that's fair to him, but I mean, it is what it is at this point, right? So I think I'm with you. I think number 10 takes it. He's on an odds of minus 238.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
yeah.
Definitely in Gary.
That's
Now, the fight I missed, this is my bad. The fight that comes first, before that one, is the one that I'm looking forward to. It's the Machine, Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Triple C Cejudo. Who do you have in this one?
Oh, I mean, lots to talk about here. We could go on for quite a while about it, but I'm gonna keep my excitement in. We chatted about it in the last show about how we're loving the machine, how we love Marab, and how he's interacted with his fans and with the media, and how he's just opened up and shown us his personality. We've seen Triple C focused as ever, changing camps, firing his, one of his best friends in order to get focused and get new looks and how to go about this, because he's really just serious about going for that belt again. Um, it's a tough one to call. I would love Murab to take this because he's just a really good fighter. He's got a great heart. He's just a warm person. I think the smarts of Henry Cejudo get him the dub. I think he gets the dub. He'll have to grind it out because Murab is a savage and he'll push him. But Murab may make a couple of mistakes that Henry will take advantage of, and that's how I see it. I don't think it's a KO or anything to that effect. I think it's a decision, could be even a split decision, but I think it's Henry Cejudo.
Okay, we're split here as well. I'm going Merab Dvalishvili. Why? Not just because I enjoy his content on social media, but the best friend you mentioned that was fired then moved over to Merab's camp to train with Merab. So having, like you said, yes, Henry might be looking for new looks, but those old looks will still be there. And Merab will then know at least those to be able to get some insight to Cejudo. So I agree with you. It's going to be a tough ground out fight, but I think they call him the machine for a reason. Like Aljamain Sterling said, they call him the machine for a reason. He doesn't stop. He keeps going. So even if he makes a mistake, I don't see him making a mistake big enough to slow him down to the point where he loses the fight. I think, like you said, it goes to decision, but Dvalishvili by decision.
Yeah, I mean, I know we want to get into the other ones, yeah, but this one there's a lot to talk about. I mean, to your point, he's got a hard chin. He's got a very serious CV. Mirab, he has beaten former champions,
He's number
former
two
contenders.
for a reason.
He's the guy. He's proven he's the number one guy, and now he has to prove it again. And so, if he's super hungry, he's super hungry to get his shot at the title because he's done the work. So it's really a tough one to pick, man. And I'm just it's purely just on emotion. Definitely, I would have gone with you with Marab. Again, not just emotion, but because of how he fights. But I'm going to stick to my triple C.
Look, I'm going with the odds at minus 238. We're happy with that. Then the fight that will make the middleweight division either stand up or say, bye bye, I don't think we want to see you guys again, is the Reaper versus Paulo Borrachinha Secret Juice Costa. Woo!
Guy.
How'd you have this one? How'd you see this one going?
Man, Reaper, family man, always good. Loves his country, trains hard. Down to earth guy, but a menace and a Reaper in the cage, as his namesake says. Again, he's gone, into a camp. I just can't remember the name of the camp where he was getting looks from the guy that Charles Oliveira just beat his last fight in Canada. Do you remember the guy? Why is it
Jeez,
slipping my tongue?
the Bronx hasn't fought in a while. I
No,
don't
he
remember.
fought in Canada. There wasn't a co-main. It was a come on, lightweight. Oh my god, this is irritating me now. But it'll come to me. Hopefully, it comes to me.
Yeah, keep going. I'll give it to you.
So he was
Benil
preparing for the last.
Dairesh.
Yeah, Benil, man. Yes, it's irritating. Benil had trained with Costa before, in actual fact, and in this week was getting looks for Whitaker because Whitaker, because he's flying from Australia, has to come in to the city to come in and get a base to prepare. And Benil Dariush's feedback was that there's just too much skill set. There's too much that the Reaper has to offer in terms of his diversity of attack, and where he can take the fights in different places. So because of that, I'm going Reaper, notwithstanding the fact that Costa has got a point to prove. He needs to win a fight. He needs to win it quick. He done well against Luke Rockhold. He beat our guy Soldier Boy, if you remember, in his come up. But he needs to start getting some really good wins under the belt so that we can start to take him seriously in the cage as opposed to outside the cage. So there's a chip on the shoulder there on Paulo Costa. But I think from a skill set, and he fights hard. He's power punches, he's kicks. He is a very tough fighter. He fight almost Dricus-esque in the sense that he's got power in those hands. So Reaper won't have to deal with that. But again, I think Reaper goes with it because he needs to show why he's still there and why he wants to fight.
My heart says Costa. My head says Whitaker. This is honestly for me the toughest pick on the card. This is the one. I mean, the main event for me, I'm easy. This one, I'm struggling. Even though the odds have it heavily stacked at minus 200 for Whitaker, my heart still says I think Costa will pull out that power that he showed against Rockhold. I think he'll show the evasiveness he showed against Vittori in not getting hit. I think, sure, he lost to Adesanya, and that was a long time ago, and 3 fights ago, which is almost nothing. But okay, I'm I'm gonna. Okay,
They want to switch it up on the last one. Final chance. You can
okay,
still
fine.
switch. Come join the winning team. Come join the winning team.
But the thing is, okay, screw my record. I'm going with Costa. My heart says Borachinia. Love the guy. If he wins this one, even if he loses, his social media is going to be amazing. Let me support Paulo Costa. Robert, good luck.
Nice one.
Then we have the one we have been waiting for. They're calling him the mini clone of Conor McGregor because he's been doing a lot of Conor McGregor-esque things, specifically snatching the title at the press conference. He has a tattoo on his chest like McGregor. He has a tattoo on his back like McGregor.
Bruh.
I mean...
Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
The main event, the GOAT, featherweight GOAT, Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria, the great, has a challenger that might be worthy. Although, just before we get into it, Max Holloway said that the reason they didn't give Topuria the fight against him before him fighting Volk was because he was gonna beat Topuria, which means that there would be no other contender for the title again. So, with that said, who do you have in the main event?
Max is spot on. Max, in terms of his fight style, beats Topuria. This one is a little bit different in the sense that they both fight the same way. So, but it's about who's faster here. Who's the smarts. This is a purely stylistically. It's one of those pure fights to watch. It's going to be a beautiful fight to watch. If Ilia Topuria, backs up, with his skill set that is shown in coming up to this fight. He fights extremely well. He's good everywhere. He's good on the stand-up, and he's shown himself to be the knockout artist on his way up. He's knocked out some really big names on his way up. We know this. But he's actually got a great ground game as well. He's got a great ground game. He's got great jiu-jitsu as well. They're doing some great stuff at Spain there in Spain with the Clement brothers. I think that's the name of the gym where he's been there for 15 years or something like that. Like, well, since he was 15, I think for 9 years. That makes him 24. Yeah, that's the stat. So it's all looking good. I mean, and is leave the Conor McGregor stuff. If he could just stick to who he is, man, I think he's got enough to sell himself as he is. He's a clean gentleman. He drives a nice car. He's got a beautiful girlfriend. He lives in Spain. He's got that exotic look about him. He can definitely sell stuff without all the antics if he just sticks to who he is. I really think that stuff is just distracting him from really realizing his true greatness. And I think because of that, I think he needs to lose this fight to just find himself and his real true channel to then become a champ in his way. Yes, he's got the tattoos that he can't take off. I mean, yes, you can always take tattoos off, but I mean, we'll remember them. But the point of the matter, as I'm trying to say, is I like the guy. If you just strip away all the antics, it's sellable. But Volk is the greatest. I mean, I don't even need to talk about his CV. I think I talked about it in the last podcast. This is the greatest featherweight of all time in my mind. He will continue to prove why he's the greatest. And this is just another, chance to prove to the fans, especially on the back of the Islam fight. And people don't remember that it was a short notice fight. He wasn't in a good space psychologically. When he went into the Islam fight, he took it on short notice. He was drinking every day. He wasn't going to the gym, and yet, he pitched up because he's a professional, and he's a, what do you call it, an organization man. There's a term for it. But I think
The company man.
easy
The
pick.
company calls, you come.
Yeah, company man. That's the term. Yeah. Easy pick. Volk by a stretch. He's too smart. He's too fast. He's too smart. He's too experienced. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to shut this guy's mouth up for everybody. Everybody hates, Topuria. And I really hope he does.
I think one thing we need to bear in mind with everything you said is also that the only two names that Topuria has actually beaten are Emmett and Mitchell. Other than that, the rest of the names in his UFC career,
Sure,
yeah,
sure. Fair enough.
versus Volk, who's beat Max, the great Max Holloway, 3 times. So just on a simple balance of where they come from, who they fought, what sort of experience they have, what they've had to overcome in the cage in terms of who they fought, definitely Volkanovski, over and above the fact that Volkanovski's been playing the most entertaining mind games this week. We saw Topuria taking the Conor playbook, which is great, but anyone can take the Conor playbook. Everyone takes the Conor playbook. Everyone takes. We have spoken about another fighter on this card who's taken the Conor playbook. Volk went a different way. He said, yo, you calling me old man? Let me show you what old man is. He brought out old man Volk, who has been entertaining us to no end over the past week. And for me, that is true confidence. That is saying, listen, you think that this is my shortcoming. Oh, no, honey, it is not. I am here and I am staying as the featherweight GOAT. So 100% everything you said. And I think with where Volk is currently and not the overconfidence, but the over focus by Topuria on the actual title, I think Volk definitely takes this. I think he's been in camp long enough. He's got his head on his shoulders this time, as you said. He's got the title on his shoulder, more importantly. And I think that experience, that skill set will definitely show through in the fight. And I think he takes it maybe in the 3rd round, either knockout or submission. I'm hoping for a head kick win because there's been videos of him sparring a head kick. So I'm sitting out here like, yo, listen, Volk, let's go. We saw you lose by a head kick. Come in the bench with another head kick. Let's go. Like, that's what I'm hoping for, is the first big head kick win of 2024 is what I'm rooting for in this fight by the Volk. So it's not just he's going to win. He's going to win by head kick. Let's call it 3rd round, but head kick, that's what I'm calling. And if I get that one, dude, you're not going to hear the end of it.
I really wish you get it. I mean, it will be a nice way to start, next week's show with a pop.
There we go. So there we have it. UFC 298 is absolutely banging. It's an absolutely banger card. Anyone who's watching, anyone who's listening, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe at Head Kick Pod on all platforms. we'll be watching tonight. Will you be watching tonight when we see Alexander the Great retain his title on this absolutely stacked card? To be honest with you, a card that's more stacked than UFC 300 so far. So like we spoke about earlier this week, I don't know what Dana's going to do after this one. Honestly, I don't even know about the O'Malley card 299, but this card is a card that you need to watch if you're an MMA fan.
Beautiful card.
And as we always like to say at the end of the show, Lou, how do we end the show?
Kick him in the head!
Yeah, that's right.
Cheers, brother.
Okay,
Enjoy.
Cheers.
Take care.